Hello again, everyone. This is my second attempt with reviewing. So this is we will reviews, and this will primarily be looking at season 4 of the Amazon Prime series, The Boys. Now, this is one of the sort of most enjoyable series TV series that I've watched in a while. Sort of The Boys and Invincible are some of my favourite superhero material at the moment. A lot of the stuff that is enjoyable superheroes wise is looking at the independent, I suppose independent comic books sort of stuff, sort of looking away from the Marvel with the DC. So you've got The Boys, which is a comic book series, you've got Invincible, the comic book series, you've got The Umbrella Academy, and you've got sort of numerous other ones which all have a different sort of take on how to do things and aren't afraid to be, how should we say this, a little bit out there. And this is very much a series which is known for like WTF moments, to be perfectly honest, and there always has to feel like there is sort of one that sort of gets past, like becomes like the main gross, disgusting, horrible sort of point, should we say. So cool. Best way I'm going to do this is I'm going to try and sort of structure this a bit differently to the other reviews that I've done. Have a bit more of a general overview and not try and sort of go over too much of the story. However, there will obviously be spoilers in this as I'm reviewing the whole series, so if you don't want spoilers, go and finish watching the series, then come back to me. We can have a bit of a discussion from that. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So, at the end of season 3, we had Ryan, the sort of son which Butcher's sort of wife had with Homelander, is now with Homelander. He himself, right at the end, openly killed someone in front of sort of the public. Obviously, the battle with Soldier Boy towards the end, who, spoilers obviously, is Homelander's father, as it were, to which he obviously was defeated, sort of with the combined effort of all the boys, of Starlight, of Maeve, everyone. Maeve, obviously severely injured after the battle, has disappeared, so that's one less person from the original 7 cast has disappeared. And so when we get started into this, we have the boys sort of undertaking a mission to try and get rid of Victoria Newman, who will be running with the other sort of potential sort of presidential candidate. She would be the vice president. Obviously, people are aware that she herself is a superhero. She has powers, but obviously has ties with Homelander, so they can't allow that. A very botched attempt in the end, should we say, because later, obviously, in the episode, we find out that they were hired by the presidential candidate, as they don't want the sort of superheroes to be in the sort of high positions of power, being able to control and influence things, because they've already obviously got a high level of power, and this just goes sort of beyond that. If they can sort of bring other people into play, it can make things sort of very dangerous and a very inhospitable place to be in. So I suppose one of some of the other sort of side stories we've got going on is sort of, you've got Homelander, who is showing his age, as it were, sort of grey hairs, things like that sort of appearing, him sort of realising that he might not be as sort of invulnerable as he might believes that he is. You've got Butcher, who is currently he's sort of recovering from the Temp V, which gave him powers in the 3rd season. Obviously very sick, sort of struggling to work out what's going on, sort of seeing his deceased wife, and sort of clearly sort of not quite right. So throughout the series, the boys are trying to look at ways of trying to get rid of some of the superheroes sort of following up on any leads or potential goings on with Homelander. This includes another story arc of A-Train, one of the other heroes from the Seven, who, having saved people within the past sort of series, is trying to move away from the Seven, realising that he's not as much of a hero as he thought, and he wants to do right by his own sort of family members, and the best way to do that is via helping the boys. He doesn't feel sort of safe and comfortable around Homelander as most people aren't. Now, with all the exits of Maeve, of A-Train, of Black Noir from the previous series, there's sort of obviously going to be a bit of recruitment in there. So we have Sister Sage, who arguably could be sort of, obviously not invulnerable, but show a bit of sort of resistance and strength like all the other superheroes are. But her main ability is the fact that she is the smartest person on the planet. And you've got Firecracker, who, although does have sort of small sort of powers, sort of similar, akin to Jubilee from the X-Men, being able to create sort of firecrackers within her hands, and naturally possessing a bit of sort of strength and durability, as sort of all the heroes do. Not necessarily the most powerful, but she has a very strong right-wing political agenda and political viewpoint, and has sort of a great deal of followers and backing from a large amount of people. Now, this is sort of, as you go throughout the stories, you can't help but see sort of this is, as the showrunner has sort of stated, that there are similarities to what's going on here to what's going on within the other sort of American politics, with the idea of Homelander and sort of his sort of the right wing sort of views sort of shown there to be very similar to Donald Trump. The showrunners made little efforts to hide that, obviously not condoning any actions sort of shown within the series, or any actions sort of undertaken on Donald Trump, obviously with an assassination attempt in real life going on. So it's to sort of make people sort of think about what's going on, what kind of sort of world sort of growing up into, as obviously the showrunner has his own political views and his own political opinions. And so there is also there's a divide within the series of what's called the Starlight, is the slightly more left wing, and the Homeland is sort of to the right wing. So various sort of conflicts between the two. Starlight herself running sort of campaigns in order to protect people and sort of protect her own image and highlight the damage that Vought and Homelander are doing across and around the world. And Homelander and sort of followers, including Firecracker, who has sort of previous beef with Starlight in their youth, trying to continuously discredit her and highlight the strength and the importance of superheroes, of Vought, which sort of makes it sort of very difficult. They've obviously sort of have their own sort of battles and sort of struggles with population attacking each other, fighting each other. Some of the different sort of superheroes from each side obviously battling and fighting each other. And this is sort of where a lot of the main conflict is. Every time the boys sort of try and get a bit closer, they get sort of put back. Now, Butch has also sort of seen someone from his own past who is, let's just say, trying to let Butcher sort of give in to his darker sort of motives, what needs to be done to get rid of sort of the superheroes as a whole. Doesn't like any of them, wants to see them go. And this leads to sort of some investigation on his behalf, to be fair, with no one in the boys, with exception to Huey, being a strong fan of his. This leads to a very funny episode, I believe it's episode 5, where they break Stan Edgar, who's played by Giancarlo Esposito, who is basically one of the best actors to play a villain in any TV series, as far as I'm concerned, with The Mandalorian, Breaking Bad, anything he does it well. And sort of leading them to go to a farm, to which this is where there's a bit of a tie-in with the TV series of Gen V. Now this farm is sort of one owned by Victoria Newman, who is Stan Edgar's daughter, where they are trying to create a chemical to harm the other superheroes, which has led to various testing which gets out of hand, which includes V-powered sheep that can fly and eat people and have laser eyes, which is a bit of an odd one, but I've seen some weird films with sheep in before. Black Sheep being one, which sort of has zombie-like sheep, should we say. So I suppose evil sheep is not a new concept to me, maybe to others. So they're managing to have a soft peace with Victoria Newman in order to get away. Now, one of the scientists is her spouse, who she obviously had a small child with. He can't be found after the aftermath of everything going on. He was unknowingly captured by Butcher, and people believed he was dead, with Butcher having sawn off his leg, or sawn off the spouse's leg, as it were, in order to help him create the chemicals needed to take down Homelander. He needs something. However, he sort of fails to understand that in order for something to be sort of so strong and powerful to harm him, it would be harming all other superheroes, including Ryan, this sort of son who his ex-wife's child, who he's trying to turn. He wants to do right by him and protect him. This is where we come to the realization that Butcher has been, in fact, seeing people with almost like the angel and the devil side of things, with his wife, his ex-wife, being the sort of good side, and this sort of agent being the bad side of him, as it were. Now, this bad side of him, unknowingly, is also the side of him which is keeping him alive, that's sort of giving him sort of a bit of resistance to what you can clearly see sort of going on with him and his illness, and the fact that it has still left him with some powers, some abilities that we're not sort of fully sure of and don't fully understand, based from sort of previous scenes. But you sort of see, obviously, he's trying to push away from the evil side of things, and this leads to him sort of going to hospital, him having that sort of internal struggle, internal battle, as it were. He's sort of made the rest of the boys aware of said poison, and so they will assist sort of in this creation, not necessarily fully aware of the full length of damage that it can do, or its potential to do. Now, one of the main sort of points leading up to this then is we have the sort of season finale where the president to be has to go to a shelter for his own protection, with the boys having to protect him. Now, what we saw at the end of the episode before that was a shapeshifter taking Starlight's place throughout this, and they're obviously catching on and realising and just about managing to escape this assassination attempt. However, obviously it failed. We sort of survived, we got through that. However, it didn't quite matter, because a lot of everything going on has been controlled and implemented via Sister Sage, despite the fact that you don't necessarily think she has the control in this situation throughout the whole sort of story, having been sort of fired from the Seven earlier. She's obviously got everything mapped out and planned out based on how she believes the characters will interact. And so the president-elect has to step down, so there will be a presidential figure head with Homelander's backing with him sort of going forward. This obviously leads to a situation where the boys obviously aren't safe, aren't secure. One last effort to get Newman on side, because she's obviously not necessarily safe. She's not going to be in any position of power. She agrees. Everything looks like it's going okay. Butcher, on the other hand, his dark side has taken over, having been unable to help Ryan and having to lean into the dark side in order to keep himself alive and able and to be able to use said powers, to which comes into the room and literally rips Newman apart with tentacles coming out of his chest. And everyone now has to go their separate ways in order to protect themselves. And this leads to the ending scenes of several of the boys getting captured. Not Butcher, not Starlight, she manages to escape, but I suppose the people with no powers. Kimiko wasn't taken, Frenchie was, MM was taken, Huey was taken. Sort of seeing cameos from some of the people within Gen V series. And this sort of sets everything up for what should hopefully be an entertaining and but final season of The Boys. I myself really enjoyed this, the farm episode being in particular quite entertaining. Some real out there moments, including a human centipede-like moment in a spa, and I won't sort of go into any more than that. Obviously watch it for yourselves, as I don't want to get cancelled into elaborating too much onto that. As it's not, I wouldn't say it's the favourite season of The Boys, but it's obviously to a good high standard. I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to the next season. This is a big plus from me. I love where they can go with superheroes. I love what they're going to do next. I love that there's no restraint on what they can and want to do. I'm a bit sad that it will be ending, but we have to a couple of years to wait for the next season. Hope all of you loved it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you like? What did you hate? How would you improve things? I'll catch you later. Bye for now.